Hello. First off, I'm sorry that I'm not able to share with you a glorious Rocky Mountain backdrop today, but I've just had so much going on recently. Plus, every time I've been free this past week to head into the mountains to try to put a video together, it's either been snowing or raining. Our weather here has not been cooperating at all. Plus, on top of all of that, all non-essential travel right now has been banned in British Columbia. And of course, since BC has been the only area nearby where the weather has been nice recently, it's been off limits to me. But anyhow, with any luck at all, this recent lockdown will hopefully end within the next short while and our weather will clear. And then I can get back to bringing you some wonderful stories along with the beautiful scenery from the Rockies. Well, today I want to share with you an experience I came across recently about a young couple who were involved in a terrible car accident, which very nearly claimed both of their lives. You know, stories like this one, where numerous other people, eyewitnesses, who just happened to come across the scene of an accident and then stopped to assist and tried to help save the lives of people they don't know, while risking their own lives, and then also, too, becoming witnesses to what can only be described as a miracle, involving a demonstration of the grace and power and love of God. Well, let's just say I really enjoy sharing experiences such as these with you guys the most. So let's get started. But beforehand, please, if you enjoy these videos, hit that darn like button so YouTube will quit making them so difficult for others to find. And also, please share these videos with family and friends, because like I've said so many times before, none of us really know who might need to hear these messages and stories of hope and faith the most right now, especially during these difficult times. Plus, I've just started loading up these videos to Rumble. So if you go onto Rumble and look up the Rocky Mountain View, you'll find most of my videos now on there as well. Okay, let's get started. Dan Stadler remembers the horrific car crash that almost claimed his life and the life of his wife Tracey. Dan says, there was so much wreckage pushed in on us that we just couldn't move. Tracey was literally trapped by the engine and everything else that had clapped inwards on her. I looked at my husband and he reached over to try to unbuckle my seatbelt, says Tracey. And then whoosh, he started on fire. I tried getting to him to help, but I couldn't move. I was trapped. On the night of their 4th anniversary, Dan and Tracey Stadler were fighting for their lives inside their crushed and burning car. They had been hit head-on by a drunk driver who was driving the wrong way down the interstate. The driver of the other vehicle died immediately, and Dan and Tracey were trapped and badly injured. Tracey says the whole entire car was filled with smoke. I could smell the burning leather. I could smell the burning flesh. I knew that I was going to start on fire very soon because I couldn't breathe. I could feel my lungs burning. Motorists arrived on the scene and quickly began rescue efforts to get them out of their burning car. Dan says they stopped their vehicles and ran up to our car, which was now engulfed in smoke and flames. They began praying as soon as they came upon the wreckage and moved into action almost as quickly. They were doing everything they could spiritually to help rescue us. However God's will was going to play out, they were there and they were involved in it. Tracey says, I remember looking up at all these people who were lined up and hysterical, and I even remember locking eyes with one woman. Unfortunately, the car doors had jammed shut. One man pulled on the driver's side door frame until the glass finally broke out. The window shattered into 1,000 pieces, and he kind of pulled it away, says Dan. At this point, I was literally on fire. My face, my head, my right side, my right arm, my right leg, they were all burning. And so with his help, I was pulled out and then everyone came over and grabbed me and carried me across the median onto the grass. And then they rolled me and put out the fire that way. In the meantime, Tracey was still trapped in the car. She could feel her face burning, and at that point, she was convinced she was going to die. Tracey says, I realized this is it. I'm leaving. And so I prayed. I said prayers I never even knew were in my mind. I said, Father, I pray that you forgive me for my sins. You said that you have many mansions in heaven, and I pray there's one for me. And I said, please, don't let me burn to death. And then I looked up, and there he was. When I say he, it was a person who I knew wasn't of this world. It was a heaven-sent person in angelic form. And at that point, he just lifted me up, and I went with him. He pulled me out, and we started getting further away from the accident site. And I knew I had left my body. I know I did. He told me I could look back if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. And the further we got away from the accident site, the more peace I felt. Such peace. And the love can't be explained. We're too finite in our words. It can't be explained in human terms. The love, like you are going home. There was no pain, no regret, only anticipation. And the only thing that mattered was my relationship with Christ. And I felt like I was in the arms of God, of Jesus Christ himself. Tracey says, as they ascended into heaven, she saw her grandmother, who died when Tracey was a little girl. And I was so thrilled to see her. And she was thrilled to see me, says Tracey. She knew me, and I knew her right away. I started to go toward her, and I stopped, and I said, Megan? That's our oldest daughter, who was 9 months old at the time. And I said, I have to go back. I mean, I knew I was going to see the face of God. I knew it. But I couldn't let Megan grow up alone. And so we started going down. And this was just the opposite of going up. It was hard, it was cold, it was fast, and it was painful coming back. She says her spirit returned to her broken and burned body. At the same time, rescuers saw a man walk out of the woods and up to the car. And they saw him come closer and closer to the car, and he appeared to have a glow about him, remembers Dan. And at the same time, there was another man who was behind all of this going on. He was praying fervently for our rescue and our recovery. And he said, just as the angel came upon the scene, he fell to his knees because he felt the healing power of Jesus Christ so intensely that it just overpowered and overwhelmed him. One of the rescuers was able to free Tracey, and that's when he said she was just as light as a feather. She essentially just popped out of the car right into my hands, as the angel bent over and put his hands over her face. Tracey says, he took his hands and I knew he was healing me. And he said, Tracey, everything's going to be all right. And he healed me. Dan says, he turned around and looked and locked eyes with one man in particular. And very slowly and deliberately, he said, take care of Tracey. Nobody knew our names at that point. Tracey's purse was in the car, completely burned up. She was pulled unconscious from the car. I had not been speaking her name. Tracey had not spoken her name. So for him to know her name, he could only have been heavenly sent. The man turned and walked back into the woods. Soon after, emergency workers arrived on the scene and transported Dan and Tracey to nearby hospitals. The next several months were filled with pain and difficulties as they recovered from multiple fractures and Dan's severely burned body. But Tracey says the presence and peace of God stayed with her whenever she prayed. That sustained me, she says. I could feel peace from my head to my toe when I prayed to be filled with the Holy Spirit. It worked better than any pharmaceutical out there. It really did. And then the peace again. I prayed to be filled with peace. In their book, Angels in the Fire, Dan and Tracey recount how God used the crash to show his presence in their lives. They say they are thankful they've been given a second chance in life, even in difficult times. I just recognize that fact that God is with me every day through everything, and even the littlest decisions. He's there, says Tracey. God was there for us, Dan says, Jesus Christ was there for us. He gave Tracey in particular, a healing. He used what happened to us for many other things. We do have a lot of joy in our lives, not always happiness, not always thrilled with some of the challenges we faced, but the joy of Christ is always with us. Tracey says, I don't know why I was saved, but he, for some reason, thought I was worth saving, and I'm very thankful for that. I really am. Isn't that a wonderful story? In particular, I like experiences like this when other people are involved and we're also able to witness, like I say, the miracle of the Lord. These are my favorite stories. Anyhow, that's it for today. I'm really hoping that in the next couple days I'll be able to get back into the mountain, get back into some scenery, so I can share that with you as well. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you very much for joining me today, and may God continue to bless you and yours. Thank you very much. Bye now.